I'm not. You know how Ben Affleck felt after training the Justice League, and he's just sitting there. He goes outside, and he just takes out and just. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. Except I'm not Batman, and I'm not training a bunch of superpowered beings that don't respect me. Oh shit. This is why I don't smoke, okay? Smoking, no, because my lungs go no. But you know what I don't say no to? A blue raspberry edible gummy from my mall. That's right. Thanks, Daddy DeWine, for making it legal, I guess. You did something to make this happen. But why am I mentioning Ben Affleck? Well, I made some discoveries recently because I have no life. And I have no one to tell this to, so you're going to be my victims here. So, Ben Affleck is in a movie called Joseph King of Dreams that came out in the year 2000. It was a direct-to-tape release. I feel old now. It was a direct-to-tape release of this movie starring Ben Affleck as Joseph. You know, the guy who could read dreams that went up to Pharaoh and said, "Let me read your dream brains, sir, so I no longer stay in prison." There's more to it, don't get me wrong. But you know who else is in that movie? Mark Hamill. Yeah, he's Judas. He plays the guy that sells his little brother into slavery.
I'm your brother!
This cast is just filled with a bunch of white people. It's hilarious. But I gotta say, Ben Affleck, Mark Hamill, they're good voice actors. Though I am mad that in my 25 years of living, this brain has not been able to find out that was Mark Hamill and that was Ben Affleck. I'm pretty disappointed in myself, actually. It's okay, I feel better. I had a thing of Prime just now. So after I found this out, I gave the movie a watch again. And I gotta say, I still love it. The animation is great. It's not good as Prince of Egypt, obviously, which was the full movie release. Big old, look at these people die in the Red Sea. Slaves are building our city. Direct to VHS, you know what? It's for kids. So let me give you a recap on the story of Joseph. So, Joseph is the youngest of his brothers. Or should I say half-brothers, because he's the only one with a different mother. And his brothers are all like, oh, he's so different. And then their dad, alright, just treats this Joseph dude as if he's the best thing that's ever happened to him. And can you blame him? The dude's like really freaking old. And he's over here still popping out these kids, like, go him! Joseph is able to read dreams, and he studies the law of his people so much. He doesn't even have to go work in the fields, and that's another reason why his brothers just don't like him. And his dad gave him a rainbow shirt to wear, and he goes up to his brothers and just goes, "Guys, I'm so special. Father says I am the best. I even had a dream where you all were bowing down to me. Isn't that wonderful?" And I don't know why that a fragile bookworm Hebrew boy thought that was a good idea to say that to his older brothers that are constantly working in the field that do not feel their father's love. I don't know, like, good thinking, Joseph. You're really big-brained in that one. So then Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery because they're just that fed up with him. And can you blame him, I guess? What's that? Our brother pissed us off for like the 10th time this week? Sell him into slavery. Who gives a shit? Tell Dad wolves ate him. Bobbity bobbity boo. Fuck him. Don't worry, Trent. I would not sell you into slavery. So now he's in Egypt, alright? He gets sold into slavery. And he gets purchased by this really rich Egyptian guy that's like BFS with the Pharaoh or something. And this Joseph is able to just quickly rise up in the ranks. And at some point in time, the dude's wife tries to hit on Joseph because he's a young Hebrew boy and maybe that's her thing. And Joseph say, no. and runs away. Comes back. Uh-oh. No one believes little Joseph because the guy's wife is crying, but she starts to feel guilty after they decide to kill the dude. And she just goes, no, wait, I lied. And the guy is like, Joseph, go to prison. I don't want to look at you. Honey, we're getting a divorce. He's in prison for a good amount of time with two people, and they keep going all, having these crazy dreams that don't make sense to me. Oh! And so Joseph looks one of them in the eyes and goes, you're gonna go back to Pharaoh, he's gonna love you, he's gonna be like, I made an oopsies putting you in here. Then he looks at the other one and goes, you're gonna fucking die. You're gonna get your head cut off. How dare you screw up? They ignored him. The guy went to go die, and the other one went to go be Pharaoh's #1 again. Good on you, buddy. And they ignored him for a while until Pharaoh one day was just sitting there going on, having bad dreams. No one can understand them. Why don't you guys worship your gods? And so the one dude goes, yo, when I was in prison, there was this guy named Joseph. He can read your dreams, dude. It's crazy. He knew I was coming back to you. So they go to get him. He explains the dreams, that Egypt's going to have 7 years of a great-ass harvest. Then Egypt's going to have 7 years of a shitty harvest where the whole world just might end, I guess. Who knows? So then, oh boy, you get that little montage in the video. Am I talking about the video or the actual book now? So you get that little montage, all right? 7 years of beautiful harvest. They put them in like giant whatchamacallits, where the grain is stored, and when the famine hits, Egypt is safe. They're perfect. They have abundance amount of food. Go Hebrew guy. Pharaoh literally goes, this dude, he's with me. You see him as you see me. You understand that? And everyone go, yeah, sure thing, buddy. I don't know why that sounded sarcastic. So then his brothers end up coming back. Because they're desperate for food, and they don't know it's their little brother. But the little brother, Joseph, sees he has a little brother now. And so he decides, you know what? He's my prisoner. I think he tried to steal something. You better go bring your dad over here or else shit's about to get wild. And they're like, please, we can't afford to lose our brother, please. And they all get on their knees and start crying to Joseph. And he goes, why are you crying? And he's like, we can't afford it. We f***ed up already. We can't fuck up again. My God, our dad will have a stroke. His mom's dead already. And oh my God, we f***ed our dad real hard. And so that's when Joseph takes off the little Egypt makeup and goes, I'm your brother. And they all just become friends again, I guess. He forgives them. And then his family moves in, and the rest of the Hebrews and other Canaanites from the land decide to move in as well. And that's the story of Joseph, but it ends really interesting. Before I forget, the ending, basically to his story, is the beginning of Exodus, where it states that the new Pharaoh didn't know jack diddly nothing about Joseph. Even his Egyptian name, just didn't know. They didn't know him, they didn't care for him or something. Doesn't quite explain it. However, I can explain it. The thinking Neanderthal. Me. Alright, so bear with me here, okay? Now, it's believed that the time period of Joseph takes place when Egypt is going through its second intimate period, which is between the Middle Kingdom and the New Kingdom. Hear me out. So, the Middle Kingdom collapsed. Why did it collapse? They did a shitty job at being leaders, obviously. It's kinda. So, these groups called themselves the Hyksos. The Hyksos. They're the Hyksos. They come down from the land of Canaan, and they slowly integrate into Lower Egyptian society. When I mean Lower Egypt, I mean basically Northern Egypt, okay? So they integrate into Lower Egypt, they basically take over, and it wasn't like a whole military conflict thing, But they did bring chariots and other weapons that the Egyptians had no idea what were. So you're not going to argue with those people. They're in charge now. Hello, you're the new pharaoh. The old pharaoh just ran away to Upper Egypt. Have you ever had a thing called prime new pharaoh? So the Hyksos, which are Canaanites, are now in charge, all right? And they're Hyksosizing everything, all right? They make Hyksos Sphinx, Hyksos artwork. This period of Egypt is actually pretty forgotten. Not because we wanted to go tell these people as of right now that they weren't real enough, so fuck you, we're going to ignore you. It's because the ancient Egyptians back then just fucking hated being ruled by a foreign invader. Yeah, no shit, who isn't? And so, in turn, they just decide, fuck it, we're not going to record you. We don't recognize you as our real pharaohs after this whole ordeal. Fuck you. But what was happening during that time? What we do know is people from the land of Canaan, which were, some of them were Hebrews, they managed to get government positions in Lower Egypt. So, probably there is a good chance that a man named Joseph walked on in, made his way up in the ranks, and then became somewhat close to being a pharaoh. Because the government of Egypt weren't even Egyptians. They were Canaanites. They're like, fellow Canaanite. Hello, baby. That's right. Put all of our people in charge. Our third cousins twice removed are officially bankers now. Yeah, that's what's going on in Egypt at that point, all right? So how did it end? Obviously, the hostile military power, fighting other empires in the Middle East like the Hittites and the Assyrians. They even conquered the Canaanites, probably out of fucking revenge after the shit they went through. But, brings me to my point. The new pharaoh did not know of Joseph. He did not know of Joseph because they didn't give two shits to care about the Hyksos records of Egypt. They just threw that shit out. They're like, we don't care who was in charge, how important these people were. Fuck them. Egyptians are running this whole shindig, baby. That's right, we're in charge. Mr. White Pharaoh on my history book is in charge. Oh yeah. So now we established that, they did not know the words of Joseph. They did not know of his help. They did not care to. They did not give enough fucks, as you would say. Now, it brings me to the Hebrews being enslaved. Now, if a hostile new dynasty takes over all of Egypt, they're not going to be nice to the old dynasty Hyksos of Egypt. No, they see them as invaders. So they didn't only just enslave the Hebrews, they enslaved all of them bitches from the land of Canaan. Alright, it wasn't just the Hebrews getting all that good old build our cities, please, or else we're just not going to do nice things to you. Those firstborn kids of yours? You being a pest now. In VeggieTales, the old guy wanted to go back, and this is what he said.
This time, I really mean it. We should go back to Egypt. Huh? Don't you remember? Snorkeling in the Nile, 3 square meals a day, plenty of exercise. Oh, it was paradise. We were in slavery. Nothing is perfect.
The snorkeling in the Nile is when they killed the kids. Just saying. So what's my moral of the story? Well, most likely Joseph was a real person, went to the land of Egypt when it was not under real Egyptian rule, and in turn was able to actually rank up higher when they saw how big-brained he was with the good Lord. And then in turn, his family moves in, and normal Egyptians are like, this food is for us, dicks, not you, you didn't do shit for it. And then in turn, the crackhead dynasty takes over where they're like, we're gonna conquer the world. And they enslave them, and they're like, we don't care who Joseph was. They weren't real Egyptians that hired him. So, his records, I don't even know what a Joseph is. Just throws that to the left. They don't care to know him. They didn't want to know him. They were just interested in our dynasty. New kingdom, baby. We're taking the world. Land of Canaan. Oh, we're coming for you now. It's going to be our buffer state. We're going to make sure you get all the hell when our neighbors invade us. So that is the story of Joseph and the King of Dreams. Prime on.
WFFP.